You can't air that.
You have to air that.
No, you cannot air that. You cannot air that.
You can beep it. Just beep it.
Let's take a break.
This part has to be the cold open. Has to be the cold open.
Oh, it can't be.
Oh, me.
Welcome. You're listening to Passages. We got the gang here, plus one. Andrew Kingsley, our remote correspondent, is not so remote tonight. He is here with us.
On site.
And we had a great lesson from him in the Bible class hour tonight.
The spring series? What's the theme?
Oils of the Bible.
Oh, I got here a little late, and since he didn't mention it in the closing, I wasn't sure what oil he was talking about tonight. So I'm glad you cleared that up. Tonight must have been the oil of
Olay. Oil of Olay.
Yeah. Olive oil, right? What was your oil tonight?
It was oil of anointing when David is anointed as king, and it was supposed to be right around 40 minutes. I thought you were going to go for the joke of oil of like 10 minutes overtime or something like that.
That would have been a lame joke. I don't do lame jokes in this room. Thank you.
Well, for Jason, it only lasted 15 minutes. He was 30 minutes late.
Yeah. I was not the last person to get here tonight. I want, for the record, someone came in after I did.
Hey, that guy that was towing that car at the end of church doesn't count.
No, it wasn't him. No. And it wasn't the one that comes in right at the end of service sometimes on Sundays. So, but someone did show up right after I did tonight. And, I think we got the best part when you realized you went, "Ooh, I'm out of time." And then you started kind of, speeding up a little bit. You did a great job, though.
It was great.
At least the last half.
It was really good.
You can go back and catch the first half. It's on live stream.
Well, boys, I am going to start us off with
men.
It's debatable sometimes.
Okay.
I'm going to start us off with a little bit of what's happening on the socials and talk a bit about the CEO burger wars that happened a couple of weeks ago. So McDonald's CEO, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because it's got a Zinsky on the end.
Got red hair.
Well, we'll find out in a second. I think his name is Chris Kempczynski.
Wasn't he the Unabomber?
No.
I think that was Ted, his brother.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I wasn't sure.
He posted a promotional video of McDonald's new burger called the Big Arch. Now, I don't know why they feel like they need to one-up the Big Mac, because that's been their sort of flagship burger forever. Mm-hmm. But they've come out with this new Big Arch.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
I think they did it because the Big Mac has been continually getting smaller.
Oh, it's the small Mac.
Shrinkflation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a problem.
So they had to come back with a really big burger.
So now, I've got a couple of videos, and I'll play the video. I'll play McDonald's, and then there were the war part comes in where some of the other burger chains replied to the awkwardness of this.
Excellent.
I love awkwardness.
You've heard about it. Here it is.
Can we pause it for a second?
This is something that we...
Why does he look like Mr. Rogers and Dumbo had a love child? Look at the ears on that guy. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean here, but he's picking up all kind of satellite channels.
Have you seen this, Jason?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know what's
you're
going on
have
with
to hit
this.
the pause button a lot, because if that got your attention, just
the first thing was, this does not look like a person I've ever seen at McDonald's.
I'm going to start this over, Jason.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Please don't.
All right. So
I'll try to be quiet.
The first one we're going to watch is what the McDonald's CEO put out on social media first.
Chris K here with, you've heard about it. Here it is, the Big Arch. This is something that we have tested already in Portugal, Germany, Canada. I love this product. It is so good. I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know. So here we go. First, holy cow.
Can we pause
God,
it
that
again
is
for a
big
second?
burger. We've got a very unique
Has he-
kind of sesame poppy sort of bun
Never mind.
on
Okay.
it.
I'll wait.
We've got 2 quarter-pound patties, a delicious Big Arch sauce, and of course some lettuce. So, there's so
trademark
much going
Big
on
Arch.
with this. First of all, let's try to get
Yeah.
this thing. I don't
It's
even
like,
know
ooh,
how to
it fell on my
attack it.
fingers.
Got so much to it. Oh, there's also some crispy onions on here as well. I see those kind of coming out. All right, the moment of truth. That is so good. That's a big bite for a Big Arch. It's distinctively McDonald's. Only McDonald's could do this type of burger, but it also is unlike anything else on our menu. It's a delicious product. You know, you've got
tastes
sort of the
good.
cheeses and the gooiness,
It's unlike anything
but those
else on the
crispy
menu.
onions as well gives a nice texture. And of
a
course, we've got the
product.
pickles. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my lunch, but Big Arch, try it when you can get it.
I'm glad I wasn't eating
So-
lunch when I
Has-
saw that.
On top of his physical disfigurements, has he had
come
a
on.
Bell's palsy? He talks like Tim out of one side of his mouth.
Oh man,
I think we.
is that what I look like? I thought I talked.
Nobody
No,
is
Tim.
symmetrical.
I know.
We're all asymmetrical.
I'm sorry. I've had a week and I'm a little judgmental tonight. I will try to tone it
It's
down.
okay, but
Sorry.
So a couple of things. I don't think at any point in that video he used the word burger. I think you said, I think he only called it a product.
Yeah. Which is hilarious.
There was also, I don't know if this was, I don't know if I got all the real videos because I was doing a little, trying to find the best ones, but there's one where he takes a napkin and right after, or did he do that in here?
I don't
was
think so.
paying attention to Jason too much.
Unfortunately,
I'm sorry, I
he
got
did
lost
not
with his
wipe
ears.
mouth.
Yeah, so there's one where he wipes his mouth, but if like conspiracy theory, it looks like he kind of spits it out as he into the napkin
Oh, that's great.
because when he takes the bite, I mean it doesn't look like he's really enjoying
To me,
it.
it looks like he just got bread. Go ahead.
Yeah,
There's no way he finished that burger.
no.
When this video ended,
this
he
is
gave
my
it
lunch.
back
Yeah.
to the
This was
design
thrown
people.
away
He
immediately.
said, "Get me some Chick-fil-A."
First McDonald's burger that man has ever taken a bite of.
Also, this is only this burger is only something McDonald's could make. He said that at the end, or not burger. I'm sorry, he didn't
Well,
say
it
burger.
doesn't require beef.
Yeah,
And I wonder what the difference is between Arch sauce and
mac
special sauce.
Yeah,
And does the Big Arch come with its own little saying? I have to look this up because I always forget it. 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
You got it.
It sounds like they've just remade that
maybe. Yeah,
with shredded lettuce.
And-
Bum,
and-
bum, bum.
and
Oh,
gone
but it has
back to
crispy
the
onions.
big size.
Mhm.
Since the Big Mac has been getting smaller, this
Yeah.
one, this looks circumference wise larger than a McDonald's normal burger
It's-
product.
You know what it's
normal
smaller
product.
than? Baconator.
Ooh.
Definitely smaller than the
Now,
Baconator.
you normally on a commercial or whatever, the sandwich looks perfect.
Right.
This looks sort of a mess.
It does. It does. All right. So
but not as much as he does.
no.
And you were trying to pronounce his name. We found out he can't pronounce it either because he said this is Chris K. Yep.
I do wonder sometimes about people like this who might be just a little out of touch with normal, I'm going to say normal people. Because I mean, he's in a sweater with the collar, it's just,
Never seen a person that looks like that at McDonald's. Never.
No.
Patrick.
no. Well, but
I mean, he's got physical limitations. I mean, what are you making fun of?
he's at church, not at a fast food restaurant.
Well, he's a CEO. I mean,
He is.
Show some respect.
Can we also talk about where is he? Can you back up to where the camera angle is a little bit wider?
Petty way.
He looks like he's in a hotel
he's in his
room.
office.
Oh,
I
that's
think
his
he's in his
office.
office. Yeah.
That is not an office fitting of a McDonald's CEO, I don't think. Looks like some pretty modular furniture back there in the back.
Sorry, Drew. I sort of had to just
That's all right.
compare you two.
It's okay.
And where's all the fries in his fry box? Like the fry box is half empty.
Look, in Portugal and Germany, where they tested this product, they don't eat so many calories like the Americans do. Yeah.
He had already eaten the fries because they're actually good.
Ray Kroc is rolling over in his grave right now.
Yeah.
Why are they
because of
testing
this.
burgers in Portugal?
So it's
I
the
don't know.
Hamburglar.
Test your burger in America, the
America.
home of the burger.
America. All right, so
Are they going to bring Grimace back? That's what I want.
probably
Hey,
not.
that would be the best PR move of all time.
Yeah.
I am pro Grimace.
I am too. What happened to Grimace?
Well, and the character itself describes what you do after you've eaten too much McDonald's.
And he
It's a
looks like
grimace.
you look when you eat too much McDonald's. Oh, all
right.
Careful.
That's a
So,
grimace.
shortly
It's a
after
small
this
room.
shortly after this dropped.
Don't push too hard.
All right, so shortly after this hit the McDonald's socials, the other burger chains pounce.
All right.
So
I've seen the McDonald's one. I have not seen
Yeah.
what's coming.
I haven't seen the
so
others
I've
either.
I've seen any of these.
got two other chains, Burger King and Wendy's, probably that's probably the top the big three burger chains. There were some other ones that tried to get in, like A&W, which do we even have those around here?
There was one of them that was on Highway 11
Yeah,
in Trussville.
Mm.
Is it still there?
It's in Arby's now. It's not there anymore. It was in
Yeah.
it was in like a A&W and
and a Kentucky Fried Chicken.
yeah,
right?
it's an Arby's now. So some other smaller chains tried to get in, but I just pulled for time's sake and because they're the funniest. I just pulled Burger King and Wendy's. So here's Burger King's CEO, and just notice. I don't know. I'm just gonna play it.
Not bad, right?
Only one thing missing, a napkin.
So I think there's a longer version of that somewhere, but I couldn't find it. But he looks so happy.
Yeah, he looked like he was enjoying his food.
and
Yeah.
if you're eating Burger King, you're not happy.
That guy was happy.
Well, he had to
a
be
good
for the
actor.
commercial.
But look,
but
that-
let's all admit, there's a reason there's not many Burger Kings around.
Yeah. That guy, I mean, he was wearing an apron. He was in a test kitchen.
He took a real bite too.
He took a real bite. It wasn't this little small thing he spit out and
He didn't
maybe
say
into a
he didn't know
napkin.
how to get into it.
Right.
He didn't call it a product.
We had two
He
Burger
didn't say,
Kings.
and there's the crispy onions.
Oh boy.
We had two Burger Kings. One's a Dunkin' Donuts now, and one's a El Caz, right? So yeah,
I got
been very
two things
successful
here.
in the area.
One, hot take: Burger King is severely underrated. Severely underrated. Number two, CEO number one for McDonald's looks like whatever lifestyle he has does not allow him to eat burgers.
Right.
And he's only doing it because he has to do it for his job. CEO number two is he's regularly eating cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
CEO number one brings up every day, let's do the Impossible Burger. Let's do that vegan trash burger.
Yeah.
And don't worry,
Impossible.
one day you'll grow up and mature, some young man, and you'll realize that Burger King is awful.
That's how you get that char-broiled
Yeah.
taste. You don't
But
have
hold
that
for
flavor
just
at
a
the other
second.
places.
Jason's is coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So if you're not
He's a Wendy's boy.
if you're not a
Obviously.
if you're not a regular on the internet and specifically Twitter, you should go look, or excuse me, X. You should go look at Wendy's account. They are the funniest Twitter account I think I've ever seen. They're so sarcastic with people, but in a good-hearted way. And they sort of started let's be a little edgy, kind of funny stuff on Twitter. And now a lot of corporate brands are following their footsteps. So here's their reply to this.
Hi, I'm Pete. I thought I'd come down to our kitchen here at Wendy's to try Baconator today. Of course, we're starting with our Wendy's Square Patty, fresh, never frozen beef. Absolutely nothing better. Oh, of course, you gotta have a Frosty with a burger. Is this set up today? Oh, wait, our machines are always working. Wendy's fresh, never frozen beef, our Applewood smoked bacon, our brand new bun, our square burger cooked on a flat grill. Amazing, absolutely wonderful. That's a burger. This is exactly the way a great hamburger should be.
So
he ate more than one bite.
He
There's your people.
I'm gonna have to stop and get a Baconator on the way home because of that. I brought a tear to this guy.
I would. So, a couple of things with this guy. First of all, I think it wasn't just for the camera, but he made his own burger and someone didn't bring him a tray, right? So he obviously knows his product. He called it a burger multiple times. And if you noticed when he ate it from the corner of their square patty, which means his bite was probably 3.5 bites that the McDonald's guy took.
Well, and that is the American way
Yeah.
to eat a square patty. You always start at the corner,
Right.
obviously.
Well, I just thought that was a little fun thing that
Yeah.
I had
popped
not
up
seen
in
any of
last
those,
couple
and
weeks.
I love it.
The
Yeah.
funniest things are the things that aren't intended to be funny.
Right.
And that's
Could
that
we
McDonald's video.
Could we
was
as
hilarious.
churches start doing that with other churches' commercials? Am I crossing a line there? What if so and so church had this ad out, and then we kind of made a mockumentary ad? Probably wouldn't be
a
good.
parody of their ads?
Yeah.
That sounds like a very effective use of our time and money, Jason. I think that's brilliant.
Hey, 4 of the most popular guys on YouTube and Andrew are in here talking about it tonight.
It's true.
I mean,
It's true.
all because of parody.
Smash that subscribe button. people.
That's right.
One last thing I'd like to point out. What is with these CEOs' names? So McDonald's, Chris Kempczynski. Wendy's is Pete Surken, Suerken. And then Burger King with the most normal name, but 2 first names, Tom Curtis.
I don't
Like
know.
their
Maybe-
burgers, a little bland.
Maybe they're really good at burgers in Poland.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's
Those
what I
are-
got.
That's a mouthful of names. Well, a reminder, our sponsor is Riddle Creek Publishing, and this is the new book out by Riddle Creek Publishing. I Want to Go to Heaven by Andy Kaiser. Dad was with us 2 weeks ago, last episode, and introduced the book. And he said when he was here that he wanted us to talk about one of the quotations in the book. And I decided to do it as part of my segment rather than make it a passage, because it's a little different than our typical passage. For one thing, I don't have the name of the person who said this, but he tells in the book, of course, the book's about heaven. And he tells in the book about studying with somebody, and somebody who had visited their worship services in Texas. And the man said he wasn't interested in a Bible study. And here's what the man said as a way of explanation. He said, "I don't know enough about heaven to want to go there, and I'm an old soldier, so I'm not afraid of hell." And so Dad wrote this book partially to respond to that statement that was made so long ago that has stuck with him. The man didn't know enough about heaven, so he didn't really want to go there. And this is a remedy to that. It's a book about heaven to teach you about heaven with the hopes that it'll make you want to go to heaven. I think, that's an interesting statement. I'm an old soldier, so I'm not afraid of hell. That's a little glib. I mean, I know war is hell. There's no question about that. But it's not
But you do hear
actual
people,
hell.
Yeah,
and you don't want to be in war if you've been to war. That's just not an excuse.
But I think you do hear a lot of people, from time to time say, man, maybe it's they've lived tragic lives or whatever. I've been through hell already, and that whole idea of, or just the idea of I'm living this very worldly life, and I'll see you in hell or whatever.
That's in
right?
movies all the time. I'll see you in hell. And that just means you don't believe in hell. Because, I mean, if you believed you had a choice, you wouldn't go to war, you wouldn't go to hell. So,
to me, the statement shows how uncomfortable people are with the unknown, that they will choose the worst case scenario. Like, he's a soldier, he's been through hell, he's choosing the worst moments of his life. And he's saying, I know what that's like. I'll choose that over the possibility of what I don't understand and I don't know. That's what it screams to me, is that humanity tends to pick the known over the unknown.
I do think the man was right, though, on the point that the more you know about heaven, the more you want to go there. The more you know about the biblical picture of heaven. I think sometimes we get views of heaven that aren't very attractive, like, it's just this passive existence where we're just sitting around on clouds, playing harps with wings, and we might fly around a little bit, but we have nothing to do. That doesn't sound very exciting, but the biblical picture of heaven is very active. There's a lot going on. There's interactions with people. We maintain our personalities. We are still us. We are going to heaven. We will see our loved ones again, all those things. So that's in the book. And I also wondered if maybe people would be interested in this for another reason. This isn't all the book's about, but this wasn't raised when Dad was with us. I meant to bring this up when he was with us 2 weeks ago, and he brought cookies, and that just...
Oh, those cookies.
I lost my focus when that happened.
Man.
But I wanted to ask him about this, and I'll just talk to you all about it a little bit, raise the issue, and if people want to learn more, they can order the book. One of the questions is, where will heaven be? And there are two prevailing theories. There are more than two, but there are two prevailing positions in our fellowship. And one is that God is going to bring heaven down to a renewed earth, and we will live in resurrected bodies in heaven on earth. And the other position, which is often called the traditional position, I believe it's the biblical position, is that this earth will be destroyed and we will go to heaven. That's kind of behind the title here. I want to go to heaven. Heaven is now in a different dimension, a spiritual dimension, and the earth is a physical dimension, and one will be destroyed and replaced with the other, which will be a new heaven and a new earth. I just thought I'd raise that issue and then make some points that are made in the book that you can explore further. First thing I would say is the reason I believe we're going to heaven is because the Bible describes a total dissolution of the entire material universe. Psalm 102.
It is Charles.
Okay.
Sorry.
Matthew 24:35. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Revelation 20, verse 11, and other passages, many, many other passages speak of the earth as perishing. It's going to be destroyed, melt with an intense heat, all these things. Another thing is the word new. This is very compelling to me, and this is in the book. There are two words for new in the New Testament. The one is naos, and that has to do with a new edition of the same thing. So if that word was used for new heaven and new earth, it'd be like heaven's going to be earth 2.0 or something like that. But the word that's used in the New Testament for the new heavens and the new earth is kainos. And kainos has to do with new in quality, new in kind. And Bauer says, unused, not previously present, unknown, strange, remarkable. So this is a not previously present heaven and earth, not like the one we have now. Andrew, you're our Greek scholar. I don't know if you want to weigh in on kainos, but that's...
I think that covers the basic gist of it. But I think there's like when I hear that quote, especially when my mind's been going through the whole time, on both sides of this. Because it's obviously a lack of understanding of what hell is as well, if you're not afraid of that. Because to me, as simple as my brain is, and I know this is a big discussion, I'd be excited to read the book because I need to read it for the same reasons. But the way I've oversimplified this in my head is whatever heaven is and like some of the finer details, we got a lot of questions of what is my exact existence going to be like? Are we still if we go back, if heaven comes here and it's earth is Eden again, then do we go right back to Garden of Eden? Are we like talking to animals? Are we naming animals? Are we not wearing clothes? Like just how much of Eden do we adopt? Because the big idea is that God's with man. And so everything that God is, that's all you have in heaven. And anything that God is not there. And so the way I think of hell is, and then there's other views on hell too, of what hell could be.
Yeah, that's one of my questions about this heaven on earth thing is, where's hell?
Yeah, that's a great question.
You know, those who say renewed earth often just don't like to talk about hell, or they redefine it as annihilation instead of eternal punishment.
Yeah, but whatever hell is, it's where the stuff that is God's is not, I think is a good way to think of it. So as bad as war is, and as bad as, and people say they go through hell in life now, you're still living in a world that is enjoying the blessings of God's nature. So there's still goodness in the world. There's still love in the world. There's still all these character elements of God that exist in us as being made in God's image. But could you imagine having to live in a place where you don't get to borrow any of that? There is no holiness. There's no goodness. There's no
redeeming
love.
qualities at all. No heroism. No courage.
So as bad
things
as
you
war
see
is
in
now,
war, there are that's an excellent point. So war is not hell.
No, because you
Not
still
even
have
close.
You still have humans
As bad
who are
as it is.
borrowing from God's goodness, even in their apostasy and their agnosticism or whatever it is. They don't care about God. They don't want to know. They're still borrowing from the goodness of God, whether they're aware of it or not. Can you imagine being in a place where none of that stuff is? I mean, and if that doesn't scare you, that, what we have now is just a small taste on both sides, a small taste of how good heaven is, because you're in the fullness of the presence of God. Like, Adam was living in the presence of God. Jesus brings you in the presence of God. But hell's like, you're out of it, and you're not, you're in the, Revelation calls it lake of the fire, second death, those kind of things. But whatever it is, you are where God is not.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be
there's
away
no
from
hope of release from that.
Yeah.
At that point.
The statement sounds tough on the front end, but it's very misunderstandings of heaven on the one end, which I'm really interested to read this book, but also misunderstandings of hell on the other side.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Well, there are other arguments to be made for heaven being a place other than this earth, renewed or not. But we don't have time to go through those, and I want you to read the book so you can look into it. But
we studied the draft of this, right? In our Sunday Bible class, one of our adult classes last quarter, I guess, maybe 2 quarters ago. But still, it still sticks in my mind just the picture of the judgment, when it says how we're going to be changed and that we're going, I mean, it all has this idea of going somewhere else. Right. And so I'm sure that, there would not be another argument if it was not thought out in some way.
Sure.
So,
and I don't mean to say that people who believe that renewed earth are, lost or don't know what they're talking about. I'm sure they have some very strong arguments on their side. I've looked at them. They're interesting, but I just don't think they line up with some of these points in the Bible, especially the destruction of the current universe. It's not just a renovation. It's a total exchange of the old for the new. And I don't think, I'll throw this in too, and I think Dad would agree. I don't think it's a test of fellowship. At the end of the day, we all want to go to heaven. We want to live in heaven with God. But I do think it's important to look at what the Bible says about heaven. And the more we talk, this debate started going on probably maybe 2005 to 2008. Andrew, maybe when you were working here, we talked about it a lot when you were here. And we talked about N.T. Wright and the things he said and stuff. And, that study, that led me into more study of heaven, which made me want heaven even more. And one thing I can say for those guys that believe in the renewed earth is they do emphasize the resurrection. and it brought the resurrection up to a focus that I don't know that it had previously. Growing up, we just think about, we did have that kind of Casper, the friendly ghost view of heaven. And the Bible says our bodies will be raised. Now, there'll be spiritual bodies, whatever that is, but our bodies will be raised. And that bodily resurrection is important.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. And by the way,
sorry.
if you'll pick up Christian Hope by Drew Kaiser, you'll get a whole section on that.
Also available in Riddle Creek Publishing.
Yeah, it's excellent. That's actually how, because I was here when you were working on that book, and it was a sermon series. And that was the first time I was like, oh, resurrected bodies. So I think that it leans on the new earth side. And then the other thing I was going to mention there is like a narrative theme throughout the Bible. It is satisfying to have you started Eden with the creation, then you come back and you're right back where you started. And then there's that theme. It shows up several times in Scripture. So I think it's a very satisfying story. And N.T. Wright, I think it's the picture he paints, But I do think if you take that view, you still have to wrestle really hard with the things that you're bringing up. And it sounds like the things that are in the book there is a lot of language that expects whatever we have now is at the very least so very different that it's unrecognizable to what we're living on now. So it's not like in heaven, you're just still going to be, living at your house on whatever street, and now you're living on the same planet in the same place, just there's no more sadness and death and those sorts of things.
Or you can pick your neighbor's house because it didn't go so
not
well.
there.
Or you got a mansion, a literal mansion.
Some of these renewed earth guys get into that. Like the buildings, they'll still be here. The greatest accomplishments of mankind will still be here. And I'm thinking, okay, there's hopefully billions of Christians that are going to be in heaven. Who gets to claim the building? Are we just all going to say, well, after you? No, after you. I get the Empire State Building. No, you get the Empire State Building. I mean, how does that work?
I'm not sure New York
far-fetched.
will be, at least New York City will be in the renewed earth.
That will be melted with an intense heat.
Yeah.
Who gets Buc-ee's?
You can have Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Those of us who live near Buc-ee's are not captivated by Buc-ee's anymore.
I don't know.
Speak for yourself,
Buc-ee's might
muchacho.
as well be like a theme park. So I'm in Montgomery, and Faulkner's down there. We're right there on campus, and like everybody, they're crazy about Buc-ee's. We got Buc-ee's shirts. We got Buc-ee's blankets. Like they're like, it's like Disney World.
Yeah, is that like somebody that lives in Orlando, their Disney World?
Maybe that's what
just
it is.
Their Buc-ee's.
But I don't understand. I had some college students get angry with me because we went on a trip and I would not go in the Buc-ee's. I was like, I'll just wait in the bus. And they're like, you're not going to go in Buc-ee's.
Oh, you took them to Buc-ee's. They could go to Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
They were mad because you didn't want to go.
Didn't want to go in there. Like, how dare you not come into
How
Buc-ee's?
dare
Like they
you.
were. I mean, legitimately upset. I'm not joking. Like they were like offended. I would not go into Buc-ee's.
Wow.
And I had something good to add to your heaven conversation. And now
We're on
too busy
Buc-ee's
for you.
now. It's too late.
I remember what it was. But like I've heard it, and you can tell me if you've read anything on this, but I've heard it compared to like the flood with Noah. So the earth is literally like wiped clean with water, and then next time it's going to be cleaned with fire. So my question would be, if it's going to be cleaned with fire, and I'm pretty sure that's a new earth view, then like how are your buildings still there? Whatever building it is, how are the greatest? I don't know what
even
all
if
we built.
the globe is still there.
Yeah.
Let me just throw out this one other thing that I don't hear taken seriously, and I feel like it's a good argument. Heaven is eternal life, right? What is eternity? Eternity is outside of time. Einstein's theory of relativity, that space-time is a thing that you can stand outside of. So within time, we're within time now. Earth orbiting the sun, making a revolution every 24 hours. I'm going to say something dumb in a minute. The moon going around every month. All that time is not in heaven. But if we still have Earth rotating around the sun, that's time. So how do you reconcile time with eternal life. Well, N.T. Wright, I've seen him say that there won't be an end to the space-time continuum. Well, now you're not talking about eternity anymore. So eternal life, I think, is a real problem for the renewed earth people.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm satisfied here with a cottage below.
A little silver
and a little gold. But in that city,
you're talking about the city where the ransom will shine?
That's it.
What do you want?
A mansion.
A gold one?
I'm sorry.
Wait, will it be silver lined?
It'll be silver lined.
I've got a mansion just over the
Probably one of the more
hilltop.
materialistic songs we have. Sorry.
Yeah,
y'all have gone so deep that you're over my head. So at this point, I just had to bring that up. That it's
a good point.
I need
Jason.
a mansion.
But either one of those theories, heaven's going to be a place in the presence of God. And I don't, believe in the traditional view, but the flip side of that, with that whole idea of, it feels like to me in this whole discussion, the idea of the annihilationism is the most dangerous to me personally, right? I mean,
with hell,
whether your reward's going to be in a renewed earth, or, you're going to be in the presence of God, it's going to be for eternity. Both of those, whether in a new realm or in a renewed earth, are blessings. Now, I believe that we're talking about a new realm. But on the flip side, the idea of eternal punishment versus being annihilated feels to me a more dangerous scenario because of what it does in the human mind. I'm gonna live for every day. I'm gonna do what I want to. I'm gonna live the roughest, crudest life. It's all about me, because at the end, poof. Now, it might hurt for a second, but then I'm gone. Right? And there's a lot of difference. There's a lot of difference between saying your punishment is, that's it, and something that you're going to have an awareness for eternity.
There's a big difference.
There's a huge difference.
And
there.
I'd like to say, I know what you're saying, but it's all connected. If you say heaven is on earth, I don't think you can have eternal punishment in hell, because where it is the righteous aren't the only bodies who are resurrected. The wicked bodies are resurrected as well.
Where do they go?
Where are you putting them? Well, you have to, most of these guys will burn them up, cast them away as ashes.
California.
All right. I didn't mean for us to spend that much time on it, but get the book.
We kept going with it too.
And getting ready for...
It's my fault. It's not your fault.
Patrick loaded up an extra VCR cassette, so we're good.
Okay.
And getting ready for Tim's spot, I got autoplayed over here.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that Charles Barkley, son of Leeds, popped up during a discussion on heaven and hell.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Coincidence?
I think not.
So we've been talking about deep topics of heaven and hell. Let's talk about college basketball.
Yes. Good segue.
So tomorrow is the start of March Madness. This is, I think they say that it's one of the least productive days of work in the year because people are, checking their brackets and everything. And, this is a little bit crude, but it's also one of the biggest times of the year for vasectomies, because men,
so they can sit at home.
They schedule their vasectomy. There's actually a commercial on the radio that says
has some medical time off.
And so you put the bag of peas where it needs to be for the next 4 days.
Wait, do the bag of peas go in the freezer? Where do they go?
In the freezer.
Oh, Jason, you have multiple bags of peas. You rotate them.
Interesting.
Rotate the peas.
All right, let's
To our fellow
I really
friends
should
who
not have
are
gone
still
there. I'd
capable
like
of
to-
producing children.
I'd like to apologize.
You should
A
be
medical
listening to
procedure.
Tim. You know who you are. I talked to you about this tonight.
Has there ever been this like juxtaposition of a serious conversation about heaven and hell
in the,
to
This
the
is
bag
the
of
worst.
bag of peas
It's the worst segue
in the lap. All right, here we go.
It's pretty much like this every weekend.
So I want to share a few facts about the bracket. We've all completed our brackets, so we're going to have the Passages Challenge. And although I won't be here next week, we will we'll check our progress to the end and declare a winner out of the 5 of us. There's never been a publicly verified perfect bracket
yet.
So the odds
Until now.
the
I feel
odds,
like we got it.
but there is a chance because the odds are roughly 1 in 9.2 quintillion.
Oh.
Bum, bum, bum.
So if you
So
see,
you're saying there's a chance.
yeah. So if you see the advertisement for join this bracket, and if it's a perfect bracket, you win $1 billion. The reason is it can't happen.
Is it? I just went blank on the name. Warren Buffett that does the $1 million. I think he does an official $1 million.
Yeah.
If anybody comes up with a
perfect bracket. Yeah.
from a verifiable source kind of thing.
Right. So this says that the closest known attempt occurred in 2019 when a bracket correctly picked 49 consecutive games. So they made it to the Sweet 16. So that's all they only made it like halfway through. And that's amazing, right? I mean, normally it takes me about 45 minutes for my bracket to be broken.
Yeah, that was me last year.
So
there is a $1 billion perfect bracket this year, or challenge this year. I think Warren Buffett's traditionally been $1 million.
Right. And I'm sure, what they've done is they bought a little insurance policy. And when your odds are 1 in 9.2 quintillion,
that insurance policy cost them $3.
Exactly. Right. So,
but when I win that $1 million,
yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I'll come back and maybe visit occasionally, but
well, hold on.
You won't be here every week.
Will you build us a new podcast studio before you go?
oh, for sure.
Okay.
Only if I'm allowed to come back.
We need a little more room in
Yeah.
here.
So we got that
I know.
going for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could double this room size and still not be big enough.
I know.
With all the guests and other things we have
Right.
going on.
Yes.
So some years there's some big upset and basically breaks everybody's bracket immediately. There's only been one time. So I'm trying to give you a little help here if you need to scratch something out right quick. There's only been one time that a 16 seed beat a number 1 seed. That was, I think it was in 2019, I believe.
App State, Michigan. Was that it? No.
It was Virginia and UMBC. So a 16 beat a 1, but that's only happened one time.
So I shouldn't have picked Troy.
Troy is probably a good pick. I was looking at Troy.
He didn't choose it, but he looked at it.
Every year, one of the most popular things is to pick a 12 seed to beat a 5 seed. 5-12 matchups are typically very competitive, but a 5 seed has never won the tournament. So maybe pick them to upset a 12, but don't pick them to win. That's the only number out of 1 through 8 that's never won the NCAA tournament. So a 1 seed through an 8 seed has won, but never a 5. Let's see.
My bracket is safe.
Here's a couple other things before we get to picks. Every national champion since 1998 has come from the eastern half of the United States. If you've got somebody on the final line that is from the West, scratch them out. It's not happening.
This is hypothetically, if you were to have picked Arizona to win, are they from the West?
They are from the West.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I thought so. My geography failed. Make it a different bracket.
While we're talking about that, let me also throw your way another problem with Arizona.
Oh.
Teams with red logos can't win the national championship. For the last
Definitely going with this
23 years, the winners of the national championships, nobody's had a red logo. So that's that red A for Arizona.
I'm glad I
Can't
brought
happen.
4 brackets so that as you were giving these statistics, I
All
could
right.
make wise choices.
Okay, so here we go. Now, we could go through everyone's pick in the whole bracket, but that would be the end of Passages. And so let's sort of take a region and talk about, who have you picked sort of for upsets? Anybody got an upset? And then we'll just talk about who are we picking to come out of that region. So we're going to start up there with Duke. That's the East region. And anybody got a big upset that they're predicting in the East region?
I picked McNeese over Vanderbilt.
Okay, that's a big one.
I have South Florida
that's
beating.
not in the East region, but it's okay.
I mean,
that's in the South.
if you can
but
read your
it's okay.
bracket, I
Mine
did
doesn't have the
take
regions.
I did take South Florida over Louisville.
I did. I took that one too. So I've got an 11 over a 6, and that's the one that I took. That's probably the biggest thing that I've got in that particular bracket. So once that bracket gets to the Elite 8, Andrew, who you got coming out of that bracket to the Elite 8 and the Final 4?
I got Duke and Michigan State.
All right.
In the Elite 8.
And then who do you have going to the Final 4?
Oh, Duke. Duke's
Okay.
winning it all. I mean, it's usually.
Hey, no, we're not there yet.
My
Okay.
bad, my
Calm
bad.
it down.
Back it
All
up.
right, back it up
Back it
there,
up,
fella.
Terry.
Back it up. Jason, in the East, who you got in the Elite 8?
I am following in this young man to my left's footsteps, and I have Duke, Michigan State,
All
with
right.
Duke representing the East in the Final
got
4.
2 so far. All right.
It is Duke. Is the E at the end silent?
Yes.
Okay, I was just
Yes.
making sure.
So I'm a little different, but half the same. Duke and Connecticut, and I've got Connecticut going to the Final 4. Drew.
I got Duke, Michigan State.
And who wins?
Duke.
Okay. Patrick.
Duke and UConn with
Okay.
Duke winning.
All right. So a lot of love for Duke, which typically is pretty successful. All right, let's go
I
down.
was with Andrew when he filled his out, and I saw that he put Duke on there, so that's what I did.
Yeah, let's go down to the South region.
Is
All right.
Christian Leitner having a good season this year for Duke? Bobby Hurley?
That's about the extent of my knowledge.
All right. So we've got
Does Mike Krzyzewski, does he run a burger restaurant now?
Yeah, he's got the name for it.
He does. He looks really funny when he eats that giant burger. All right. So in the South, we got Florida as the number 1 seed. Andrew, you got any upsets going on in the South region?
As much as I would like to put Vandy through to the end, I've got Florida and Houston. Everything else is pretty typical, but I got Florida and Houston Final 4.
All right. Jason, any upsets predicted in there?
I'm going to go with T-Roy over Nebraska. T-Roy
Okay.
over Nebraska.
I like that one.
I don't know that happens, but Nebraska has never won a game in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Never won a game in the NCAA tournament.
And they've had a really good year, but it's still Nebraska.
But T-Roy,
choke.
this is a great chance for them to shine. It's a good program.
Yeah.
And they're from Alabama, so I picked them. I have in my Final 4 Florida and Illinois getting there.
And who wins that one?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the Elite 8. Florida, Illinois, and I have Florida going through.
All right. Florida going through.
Same.
All right. My upsets, I'm going with sort of going to the Sweet 16. I'm going to say Vandy is going to beat Nebraska. So I'm taking that's not big. That's a 5 over a 4. I do think Texas A&M will beat St. Mary's. That's a 10 over a 7. I think that's a pretty easy pick, Southeast, for an SEC guy. In my Elite 8, I've got Florida and Houston, and I think Houston's going to the Final 4. All right. Drew.
I told you about the McNeese over
Right.
Vanderbilt.
That's a
That's
good
my upset. And I've got Florida, North Carolina.
Okay. And
With Florida winning.
Florida. Okay. Patrick.
Same as Jason. Florida and Illinois.
And who wins?
Florida.
Okay. So a lot of Florida love there. Except, so y'all are all like Duke and Florida, everybody, except for me, and I'm Connecticut and Houston. So I'm going to, You're Duke Houston. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's go to the top over there, and that's the West region. Arizona's the number one. That's Jason's champion. So Andrew, what you got? Got anything interesting going on over there?
The big upset I've got, this has nothing to do with where I'm from, is Kennesaw State over Gonzaga.
Nice.
That's a 3 and a 14. I should have asked you for the stats on that. But put them through just because I watch every one of their games, totally not a guess based on where I'm from. But Final Four, I've got Arizona, Miami with, Elite Eight, Arizona, Miami, with Arizona making it.
Okay. All right, Jason.
So I don't have a huge upset. I do have Missouri putting Miami out. I don't know if it happens, but it sounded fun. Yeah. I just think that's possibly a really good game.
I think it could be a good one.
So my Elite Eight, I'm going with our fellas from Utah, BYU and Arizona in the Elite Eight. I have BYU making a little run. I don't know that they're going to do it, but who knows? And then I have Arizona. I'm going to pretty much be all chalk when it gets to the Final Four.
I'm going with Texas to beat BYU in the first game. So you and I will, somebody will do well and somebody will not pretty quickly. I do have your Missouri beating Miami, but my big one, because I knew I had to pick 112 to beat a 5, I'm going with High Point over Wisconsin. High Point is 30-4 this year. Now, I'm sure that that's in some Division III conference. Well, that can't be because they couldn't be in the tournament, but it's, wherever High Point is, I'm rooting for you, fellas. So I've got Arizona and Purdue in the Elite Eight with Arizona going to the Final Four. Drew.
I think High Point's in North Carolina. I could be wrong.
My West looks pretty much like yours. I got High Point was my upset.
All right.
Arizona, Purdue in the Elite Eight with Arizona winning.
Okay. Patrick.
My auto chooser here chose Arizona and Gonzaga with Gonzaga winning.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So you got a 3 going to the Final Four. Interesting. Yeah. All right. And now to the Midwest.
Did he just insult you?
It
sounded like an insult.
It's okay.
Did I say
you got a number 3 going to the Final Four? Okay, that's interesting.
Okay, you're an idiot.
You're not.
I
mean, when you have no internet tonight, Tim, just remember that comment.
Please do not empty
this is
out
the
my
Yay
bank
Sports
account.
side of the studio.
Also, remember there is literally a segment on this show named after me and my love of sports.
Yeah,
there is. No
we should have played the Yay Sports.
We should have.
Yep.
We'll do it at the end.
I missed that. Yeah,
I got it queued up. We'll do it. At
All
the
right.
end.
Last our last region, the Midwest. Andrew.
Tim, I have been waiting on you to ask me. I even wrote some notes on here because I thought I was just turning it into you. I didn't know it was going to get.
You didn't pick Hofstra.
Listen, I've got. Can I start with just a couple Sweet 16s over here?
Yeah.
Sweet 16 in the Midwest. This bottom part of the bracket, I got Rocky Top and Kentucky. All right, and I got Rocky Top coming out of that one, making it to the Elite Eight.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of that, I got the Roll Tides and the Dogs.
Oh,
in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
And I wrote, you want to see it.
I wrote because I want to see it, and I've written here: the Tide get rolled, Dogs on top, Dogs in the Elite Eight, and then I got my Dogs again. This has nothing to do with where I'm from, what teams are, nothing. This is just pure.
You keep saying that.
This is objective, pure basketball expertise. I got my Dogs in the Final Four, probably getting whooped by Arizona, but I got them in the Final Four.
Yeah, Final Four. You got a number 8 seed there. Interesting.
All right.
That was an insult.
Yeah, you're an idiot. Yeah. I don't think I have any major upsets in this one. I do have, and I love you, Tim, but I do have Texas Tech putting Alabama out in round of 32.
Well, I love myself, and I have the same thing happen.
Okay. But unlike my friend here, I'm a dog through and through, but I don't have my Dogs making it real far in this one. In fact, in this bracket, let's see, where did I put them out? Oh, I have them losing to St. Louis.
I do too.
In the very first round.
I do
so
too. In the 8-9.
I have been a Dog fan, Braves fan, and Falcon fan most of my life, and I have learned to live with disappointment in life. So it's just the way I go. But I got my Final Four. I've got Michigan on that side in the Final Four. Like I said, I went all chalk in the Final Four.
I might have chosen Alabama to make it further, but we had a little marijuana issue on the team. We lost our second leading scorer. He sort of had I don't know if you would call it a stash. What I read was it was enough to make 19,000, whatever you call those things, joints. Yeah.
19,000.
It was.
So was he dealing?
Well, why would that means he'd already sold 1,000 because you don't just keep enough for 19,000. I mean, obviously,
maybe it was 1,900. That sounds better. It was 2 pounds of marijuana.
That's probably 1,900.
2.1.
If he did 19,000, it's like you get one little sprinkle in there. It looks like a parsley on top of spaghetti or something.
Okay. So 1,900. What's a zero among friends here?
I mean, a lot.
We were talking about quintillions before.
It's a factor of 10.
That's like 20 years in prison
versus 200.
We know who has not done drugs in this room.
So let's
math.
So to your question, if you've got enough pot for 1,900 joints, one of two things is true. One of three things is true.
I hope one of these is you have glaucoma.
You're selling your Cheech or your Chong. One of them. That's it. Those are your three options.
Or Willie. Oh, Willie Nelson, he's been known to do that.
That's right.
Maybe this was on purpose, but the I guess where it becomes a drug trafficking charge is at 2.2 pounds. So maybe he was
just under.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me this. Sorry for derailing this.
Yeah. That's okay. We like this.
So he got busted on a felony of having that much weed. But also it says that they charged him with not having a tax stamp on it. What in the world does that mean?
So we're regulating illegal behavior?
I think we are.
So it's possible that if it's in this state that you can have, because you can have a medical card in this state, I believe. And so he may not have had the proper federal, state regulated thing to have that amount.
Or he bought it in a state where it's
in that
legal
case,
and
you
it's
can't bring it
taxed.
here, can you? I mean, so maybe
you
that
can't
is,
get caught with it here.
Yeah, that's the point.
Okay, so
that was his problem.
According
Not
to
that
this,
he had it, that he got caught with.
According to this, the charge for failing to affix a tax stamp stems from Alabama law, which requires individuals to purchase and apply state-issued stamps to illegal drugs, such as marijuana, when they possess, sell, or transport them. So it's illegal. It's illegal to have it, but if you have it, you have to put whatever this tax stamp is on it. Is it? Do we think this is just one of those laws that they create so they can stack they can stack the law?
Yeah,
or so they can catch the illegal drug users. I need to purchase a drug stamp
at the courthouse.
And they're like this. The guy just walks out and clicks the things. Another idiot fell for that.
All right, back to our regular schedule program. So in the Midwest region, I've got Texas Tech beating Bama. Sorry, guys. But Michigan and Iowa State going to the Elite Eight, with Michigan going to the Final Four. All right. Let's go around. Give me your national championship game and who wins.
Duke, Arizona, Duke.
All right.
Duke, Arizona, Arizona.
All right. I've got Houston, Michigan, Michigan.
Duke, Arizona, Duke.
I've got Duke, Michigan, Duke.
All right. Let the festivities begin about 11 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, I won't get any work done tomorrow afternoon, probably.
Yep. So,
so did he get arrested on shoplifting too? Like with 500 bags of Doritos chips or Fritos or anything like that?
He had gone to Sam's and bought a pallet of Funyuns.
They're like, man, that guy is really hungry and so relaxed.
Have you guys ever seen where the EA Sports comes? Have we ever played that?
No, we never played it.
We've heard it.
They're upside down. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
sunglasses are
just for.
It would be Virginia Tech too.
Just for all our passengers, the The origin of some of our sound effects is interesting, but this is one that I found when looking for a new one for EA Sports.
The team, go sports!
All right, can you just explain what's going on here?
Thank you, I have no idea.
Oh my, that's a broccoli.
I'm not eating this.
For you who are not sure, that is broccoli.
So bizarre.
You can carry more than 2.2 pounds of broccoli.
You can carry as much broccoli as you want without a tax stamp. That's a fact.
All right, Jason, over to you.
Guys, I want to.
How's your week going?
It's been an interesting last couple of weeks. I'm going to just give a quick update, life summary, and then sit here in tears as Andrew tries to come up with something to talk about. You didn't bring anything, did you?
I'll be able to follow it somehow.
Okay. So we went on the Peru trip last week. So I want to give a little update on that. The work in Peru is really going well. The church is doing very, very well. We saw, I think the total, I should have looked these up, but I didn't. But I think we had 1,084 patients total come through the clinic. I think we saw 700 or so of them, and then the medical saw the rest of them, and we swapped a lot of patients back and forth because they'd get out of our line, go see them, come back or whatever. They did the most Bible studies I think they've ever done. I think they did over 300 Bible studies during the week, which was really, really cool. Got to see a lot of our good friends from across the country that go down there and work. Really had a hole in the campaign this year. We were missing our good friend Craig Waddell. He passed away at the end of last year, and it was really weird. This is the first time since 2012, I think, he's not been down there with us, and he's always worked with us in the eye clinic, and it was really sad. They did a really neat thing. They always make signs to hang up over each station, and they made it Waddell Optical where we gave out the glasses. And so that was really, really a cool thing to do. But it was a great trip. Cassie, bless her heart, she got sick again and got 3 liters of fluid by IV in the first couple of days while we were down there, but bounced back and ran the clinic Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with us. So that was fun. We did something we've never done before. We decided instead of taking a tour after the clinic was over to just, after clinic was over, get on an airplane and fly back so we could get back early on Friday. Did the overnight flight and had a really good Friday. Got back around 10 o'clock or so. Got a lot of stuff accomplished and then went to the rodeo. No monkeys riding dogs this rodeo, but had a great time at the rodeo. Dwayne brought the girls with us, brought the girls to the rodeo, and we had a lot of fun sitting there watching them. It was really entertaining. So that was a really good week other than Cassie getting sick. We had a really fun week. We started the work week. Mondays are always, kind of rough. And so Monday, we got home. We went to bed at a normal time. We live on I guess you'd call it a little farm or a mini farm. And we've got, some cows and horses and chickens and cats and dogs and fish and all kind of various and sundry things. And fed everything, decided to go to bed, got in bed about 11 to 12 o'clock, like normal. You want to be in bed at 10, but you look up and it's midnight and you're still not in bed.
This is a super cold night, right?
It was freezing that night. Yeah, this was, Saturday, Sunday was like 75, 80 degrees, really breezy. You wake up Monday, it's cold, it's snow. So we had tornadoes Sunday night, Monday morning, early hours. We had 70-degree weather, rainstorms, tornadoes. 10 o'clock in the morning, it started snowing. And then the temperatures got colder as the day went on. So we go to bed, and to my recollection, about 3:30 in the morning, and I'm going to bang on the desk, so I'll hold the mic so it doesn't. I hear this. I'm like, that is a really weird knocking noise. And I thought, I guess I need to get up out of bed and see who's banging on the door. And I sleep like most people sleep in my underwear, so I'm not going to the door like that. Drew has seen me at the locker room. He calls me the Flash because I'm the quickest change in the locker room.
Fastest I've ever seen a human being move.
I mean, I don't like, I talk a big game, but I'm probably a little modest and I don't like changing in front of other men or other people. So I had decided already, I am not going to the door till I get some clothes on. So I went in the closet, threw on some clothes. But as I was doing this, I noticed, wow, it's bright, really, really bright in the bedroom. And it's an odd color bright. It's kind of like the sun's coming up and coming through the windows. But I'm like, it's 3:30 in the morning. What's going on? So I kind of like in the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, I tore open the sash and I did not see out on the lawn 8 tiny reindeer or up on the roof or wherever they were. What I saw was my barn, which is about 35 yards off the back of the house, fully engulfed in flames. And when I say fully, we have had a lot of bonfires at the house. We've had some big bonfires at the house. I have never seen a structure like that so close on fire. You know, you'll drive by when the big church over here on 78 burned, you could see it and you're like, oh, that's awful. Watching your own structure, something at your house burning down it is a horrible feeling. And it's a helpless feeling. There is not a thing you can do.
Did you build this barn or was it there?
No, it was there when we bought it. We've added some stuff to it, upgraded it in some ways. But when I say fully engulfed, you could see the shape of the barn by the shape of the flames. And you could see a couple of the openings in it. So I run to the front door to open it and there's nobody there. So obviously the fire department, police department, whoever it was, had been banging on the door. And when I say there were fire trucks everywhere, there were 2 out on the street, a couple in our driveway, police cars everywhere. They had shut down Kerr Road because I think they were running hoses from the hydrant across the road down our driveway and all. And the fire department showed up and tried to put it out. By the time they were pumping water, there was they were just trying to keep it from burning the house or the other structures down. And so we lost the barn. We had 2 calves, I think a 2-month-old and a 3-month-old calf, a heifer and a bull in there. We had a kitten that lives in the barn, a barn cat that keeps the mice down, and we had about 20 chickens in there. Miraculously, and I don't know how this happened because they were in the gates and panels, the cows got out of the barn. So if you think you have your cows securely fixed in a place, set it on fire and they will find a way out, is what I learned. I don't know if they went over, under, or through, but they got out of the barn somehow. The cat somehow or another got out with just some singed fur. The chickens were not so lucky, nor were the eggs that the hens had been sitting on because we've been hatching babies. And but it's a total loss. It's the craziest thing. So my sister-in-law and her husband had a house fire on like January 4th, 3rd or 4th, about 10 years ago, I think it was. And they lost almost everything in that fire. And I can remember talking about just how helpless you were and that you can't, like you go into the structure and you can't figure out what was what. And it's like that. I mean, you can't tell, is this a weed eater or is this a tool bin or whatever? And so that was a very bad way to start the morning. Watching the fire department work was pretty cool. Big shout out to Moody Fire Department. They are some super nice guys.
They knew about it before you did.
Oh yeah, they woke us up, is what we assumed. Somebody, either them or the police. The policeman that was out there, really nice guy. He came up. He said, "Man, I came out here and we helped get your horse back from the high school one night in the middle of the night." I was like, "Oh, I remember that." And so we're getting quite a name there in Moody.
Boy, you're a lot of trouble.
But I want to just say,
did they tell you how they learned about it? Did somebody make a 911 call?
No, and I never asked. I assume, that time of the morning, a lot of people are going to work early, especially if they're commuting. Excuse me. I assumed that somebody saw it and called it in because, you could spot it from, it was a raging inferno. When y'all were talking about heaven and hell, I know that hell is probably not a place of literal fire, but that is the closest thing I think I've ever seen to. I walked out on the back deck and you could feel the heat at our house from it. That's how big it was. But they got out there and those guys were great. They got the fire controlled. They had to come back later in the day and put it out again because it had started. The coals, they'll stay warm for a long time. It was cool. One time I saw them all pose and the chief or whoever was out there with them, I guess the captain at the time, took a picture of them. So I guess maybe we'll end up on their social media. I don't know. I was fine with it. I thought, hey, this is cool. Y'all are doing your job. A couple of take homes I learned about the fire department is those guys are not afraid to walk into a fire. Like once it started dying down, they're crawling up in there, putting out the hot spots and stuff. I was shocked none of them had on a mask. When they started hitting it with water, the smoke was unreal, the steam and the smoke, and they were just out there fighting it. They involved me, and I felt pretty cool about that. They were like, you think you can get your tractor and help us pull some of the debris back so we can spray on? And it had calmed down. It had collapsed on itself at this point, and pull some of the debris off so we can spray underneath it. I was like, man, yeah, this is cool. At the same time, it was pretty bad. And I will tell you, the hardest thing of the whole night, other than the loss of property, which thankfully none of the family was hurt, the house was fine, was trying to catch two very frightened young calves that were running buck wild across the back of the property. And there was a lot of sweating, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. And that was just the cows.
Did you wait to do that for a while, or were you doing that?
No, we were
at like
trying to
4 or
do
5
that.
o'clock
We
or
were trying to
something?
do that while they were still actively fighting the fire, because the back of the property crosses a pretty good sized creek. So we knew they probably weren't going to go across the creek. But I mean, there's a road on the front of our property. There's a road down the side of our property. And so we were just trying to keep them out of the road, because it was just random luck, I think, that they survived and got away from the fire. And I sure was not going to have to explain to Miss Pullum how her cow, who had survived a fire, had got hit by a car.
Right.
So we caught it. In the process, I did something to my finger. I don't know if the camera can see it, but I have a very, very purple finger. I don't know how I injured it. I know at one point I had the cow pinned inside the tractor shed, and I dumped him over on his side and was holding him down, hollering for the boys to help. We got him almost to the pen we were putting him in, and he got free and ran. So we had to work for about another hour to catch him. So it was an interesting night. It was a little late to work that day. Still had a pretty full day at work, but I've got some pictures. I won't, there's no point in showing them on the air, but I'll show you some of them to you later if you want to see them. It's pretty unreal. Now we're just playing the insurance game of waiting on the adjusters, waiting on their inspector to come look at it. So it's a frustrating time at the Pullum house, but thankfully, we still have a house to sleep in, and
I'm glad
we can
everybody's
rebuild
okay.
a barn. And it was not, the fire marshal said they didn't really find any fault in what had happened, that they just assume it was they ruled it an accidental fire. So we're assuming something electrical. Who knows? But I pray that none of you experience it, because it is a scary thing when you walk outside and something you own, part of your property, is going up in flames.
That is one of my biggest fears.
It was scary.
Is a house fire, that kind of thing.
I was shocked at how hot it was standing back. I mean, it was 30 degrees that night, 25 degrees that night. How much heat you could feel from just the back deck of our house. And like I said, it's maybe 35 yards, 40 at the most, off the back of the house. And you could have just about roasted marshmallows off the back porch. We didn't try that, but you probably could have. So crazy though. But thank you to the Moody Fire Department. Y'all are awesome. Whoever, I didn't get any of your names. I probably should have, but I owe y'all a big thanks for controlling it and keeping it from burning up the tractor shed, because that would have been really bad.
I know you were showing us some stuff.
Yeah.
Was there anything in there that was like family heirloom, something that really can't be replaced?
That's
or
one of the
anything?
hardest things is after Cassie's grandfather, Pop, that's what we called him, Pop passed, they wanted us to have all his fishing rods and all this kind of stuff. And they were stored in the barn with all the fishing tackle and stuff, and it's gone. And there was a few things like my grandfather had passed down. When he passed away, I had gotten from his house tools, mostly tools that I had gotten from him. And, maybe some of the metallic tools, wrenches and stuff, or maybe can be salvaged. Who knows? It got so hot, they may have to, the temper's probably gone on them. But, that paled in comparison to all Pop's fishing stuff. I mean, there's stuff from, when we were, Cassie and I have known each other since we were kids and dated since we were really, really young. And there's a lot of memories tied to fishing with her grandfather. And to know all that went up, that was pretty hard. That was a big loss. And there have definitely been some tears shed over that, even though it's fishing rods. In the long run, it's replaceable. It's the memories associated with them and the specialness of where they came from. So that was hard. But anyway, the week has gotten better, and I'm here tonight laughing with my friends. So I'm blessed to have that, and I'm able to flush toilet paper here again. So that's really a nice thing. So,
God bless the USA.
Yes. Yeah. It's amazing to me that even the native Peruvians, like the ones y'all, you've both been down there. You've been down there. You got fried down there the year you went. The native Peruvians down there, they come out of the mountains and the pueblos to the clinics, and they are obviously Indian. They're Incan descent. Mm-hmm. They're wearing traditional, kind of what you would consider traditional Peruvian clothing. They live in homes that may or may not have power, probably don't have running water. But every one of them have a cell phone. It is the craziest thing. You will have a little lady that is Quechua. She's Quechuan. She only speaks Quechua, and she'll be looking at a cell phone. And it's just the strangest thing. That shocked me. And I'm like, everyone in this country has a cell phone, but you can't flush toilet paper. There's a problem. There's a disconnect.
Weird blend of primitive living with modern technology.
Yeah. But thanks for letting me share that. It's good. It's good therapy for me just to talk about
You've had more adventure this year than you'd like to have, and it's only March.
It's been a memorable at least 2 weeks. All right, Andrew, what'd you bring tonight?
The only night I'm here, this is the one I'd have to follow with some kind of conversation. How about I'll just do Peru? I've been sitting here trying to think of something. I mean, like what? So you mentioned Peru, and you mentioned I got sunburnt so bad, so I'll just keep that rolling here. So if you ever go to Peru, for all the listeners out there, if you ever go to Peru, and Dr. Jason Pullum tells you, hey, listen, you're going to need to bring some sunscreen. You're going to need to wear some long sleeves and a floppy hat because you're going to be outside all day. You're going to get sunburnt. Even if you have grown up your whole life not easily getting sunburnt over here, you go to the beach, you go to the lake, you're just at the ballpark all the time, and you don't get burnt and everybody else does, good for you. But if you go to Peru, you're going to get burnt in about 30 minutes. So I, in my ignorance, was like, okay, buddy. Yeah, I got you, but I don't get sunburned. I'm not going to get sunburned. So I packed sunscreen and I packed long sleeve shirts. I did not wear a bit of sunscreen. I just don't like wearing it. So I didn't wear any sunscreen. I think I did wear a long sleeve shirt, though, like a thin fishing shirt. I think I had at least enough sense for that. I didn't have much sense, though. I had the sleeves rolled up, no hat, nothing. And after, I think it was lunchtime of that first day, I knew I was in trouble.
Like a lobster?
Oh, worse. It's the reddest I have ever been in my whole life. And it was the first day. So that happened the first day. So I had the rest of the trip. I was like, do you remember after that? The next day, I had a hat on and I had a T-shirt hanging out of the back of the hat to cover my neck because it was so burnt. And I was in constant pain all day because my neck was so burnt. I had a shirt scratching up against my neck, but I was like, I can't. If I get it burnt any worse, I'm going to have to go to the ER, the Peruvian ER. And I don't want to get checked into the hospital over here. But it was pretty horrible.
The year he went, we had the clinic outdoors in one of the town squares. So there were tents, but he didn't have access to the tent. Because if I remember, you were moving people from place to place. Triage, that's right. And that was also the year, correct me if I'm wrong, but was that the year that the riot police showed up out there? Were you on that trip? I do remember like the lowest point for Andrew, and he's going to be embarrassed. Do any of your people at church at university listen to this? Are you safe? Okay. More are going to listen after this story. So one of the things I remember probably the most, like the low point, and when he was red, I've never seen anyone so burned. And he came there. That was the year they had a porta-john out in the corner of the square. Out in the corner of the square. And if you ever go to Peru, just know you are going to have a stomach problem at some point. There's no doubt about it. You're going to. So I can remember Andrew, this bright red glow. It's like he'd been on Mount Sinai and he was coming down with the 10 Commandments. He's glowing so much. And he comes up and he's like, hey, you got those dude wipes? You got the dude wipes? And you can tell he's in a bind. It was a mistake. And then I'm like, they had a building we could go in and use the restroom, but you had to go through a crowd. It was kind of across the street. And I see him making the walk for a porta-john. Now, I'm a germaphobe. I won't go in a porta-john. Like, we could put one out here in the church and it's brand new, never been used. I'm not going in the thing because I'm afraid of them. They're gross. They're just nasty. But he made the walk across that plaza and went in that thing and came out a little more red, actually, than when he went in. I don't know why. And blood pressure may have been
the
up.
same.
But he... It was like the look on his face of the resignation of I hate this place. I will never return. Why did I ever come down here? I will never forget that look. And somewhere, I need to find it. Somewhere I have a picture of you just covered in just redness. And I need to try to find it. But that is that was like the lowest point of the trip, was seeing you suffer like that.
Now, the reason for the sunburn, in case our listeners don't know where this is, Cusco, Peru is like over 11,000 feet in elevation.
Really close to the sun.
Yeah, really close to the sun.
Basically on the surface of the sun.
Right.
The greenhouse gases are below you.
Yeah.
There's no protection. You're just straight on sun.
You're actually in the hole in the ozone.
Yes.
You need the SPF 1
And
million.
It's not that hot is the thing. It's like actually feels pretty nice outside. I'm not going to get sunburned. Now,
You're not aware until it's too late that you're burned.
I'm telling you, I did a lot of growing up in my Asheville Road years. And one of those things, my good friend Jason here, before I left, told me all this. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. And he said, you need to pack some rolls of toilet paper because you said like there's none over there. Guess what Andrew didn't pack? Oh, I'm not packing. I'm not going to. So that's why I came to you and said, hey, do you have any? Because I didn't pack any. I had none with me. So I got the full Peru experience. I got the sunburn. I got the stomach ache. I got the porta potty. I got all. I don't know, a lick of Spanish. I tried to learn some before I left. I had the young children. My job, now that you mention it, my job was to, like, I would take people's like name, put them on the list, and I had to call out their number when one of you guys would come tap me and say, hey, we're ready for the next one. So I would call out the number, but I didn't know any Spanish. So I just know, what is that? Offspring, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, cinco. No, that's U2. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, cinco, seis. That was like all I knew.
From a U2 song. That's the only Spanish
so
you knew.
I think there's an Offspring song with
it was Offspring?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. But I took Latin in high school. Like, I mean, why take a language that people speak? Yeah. You know, why would you do that? That's why I took Latin.
Now, just because we're talking about the need for toilet paper, let me introduce you to the thing I never leave home without.
Okay.
The travel bidet.
Oh, my.
Man, you better be careful and not mix that up with your travel coffee mug because they look very similar.
What's the difference?
Oh.
It's too dangerous.
The difference is the taste, Tim.
It's a good thing I don't drink coffee. Also, what coffee container do you have that looks like this, Jason?
You could have one.
I mean, if I see a picture
travel
of that,
mug.
if I saw that and you said, Andrew, what is that? I'd say it looks like a water bottle or like a
collapsible,
thermos.
collapsible water bottle.
All I'm saying as a bidet aficionado and user,
I've gathered from previous episodes.
Yeah, you're missing out, man.
Yeah.
You're missing out.
I'll just take your word for it.
Now, I'm going to continue missing it.
I will say one thing though: if you're in a porta potty with no water, you're not filling that thing up.
Yeah.
So,
we hope.
And Patrick, I should not go here. We should end this segment.
No, this is about to get good.
It's time to stop. Welcome back. We are ready for our passage segment of the program, brought to you by Robert Frost. Mr. Robert Frost, the great American poet of the 20th century. And here is our passage. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence. It's a quotation about learning. You know, there are some very intelligent people who don't get educated. They don't learn, they don't grow because they're too proud to learn anything. And I don't know when that starts. It's different for different people, but some people get to a point in their life where they close their mind. And once you do that and your pride gets in the way, you're done learning. And life should be a lesson every day, no matter how old you get. You're never too old to learn new things.
There's humility in learning.
Yeah, there's a great deal of humility
kind of admit,
required.
I don't know. And I mean, we can be talking about something technical like, the structure of the eyeball, which is not my biology, is not my thing, but it is Jason's. Or we could be talking about how computers work and we flip.
Which is definitely not my thing.
Right. But being humble enough to say, I'm going to listen to somebody who has experience in that. I mean, that's why people go to doctors. People go hire people to come to your house.
That's
and work
why I call you when my computer it doesn't work.
Right.
I think it also, I like or lose your self-confidence. So that part of it to me screams that if you learn something that you were wrong about, that you don't let it destroy you. That you're like, I made a mistake. Yeah, but some people, I think it is their pride. They build their reputation and their self-worth on what they know. And if they find out, oh no, I was wrong, it can really break down the picture or who they had defined themselves as, and they lose their self-confidence. I think that's a worry too. I like it. Education is the ability to listen too. Just that part. Just education is the ability to listen is super, super important, because if someone is trying to teach you something and you're not actively listening, you're not going to get anything about losing your temper or self-confidence because you're not engaged in what's going on. So he could have stopped at education is the ability to listen and probably had a pretty good quote.
Yeah. A lot of times when we see the word education, we sort of put in front of it almost by default formal. As education's a formal thing, and that is very a big part of education. But there are a lot of people who maybe don't have a lot of formal education, but they're very learned, right? They've learned a lot of things, and so when I read this, that was one of the things that sort of hit me is there's a lot of different types of education out there, a lot of different ways to learn, a lot of different things to learn. I think all of us ought to strive to be lifelong learners, right? You don't ever need to get to the point where you don't think there's anything else that you need to learn. That's never a good place for us to be. But I think this doesn't necessarily have to mean, I've been in a lot of classes got
a lot of degrees,
or anything, but it does mean, you're a learner.
Yeah. I think what makes us lose our temper and our self-confidence a lot is the way I've always done it.
It's like the most dangerous phrase.
Oh, it is. That's the way I've always done it. And we all get comfortable with a certain way of doing things or a set of beliefs or ideas. And one of the most amazing things to me in my work as a minister is to see somebody question what they grew up believing and open the Bible and look at it objectively. That is such a hard thing to do. And no matter who you are or what faith tradition you grew up in, if you haven't done that, you're doing yourself a disservice. It takes a lot of courage to approach God's word objectively and approach it like, you've never heard of it before, and just read it out of the context of your upbringing.
I wrote down retaining your self-worth even when you're challenged deeply.
Yeah.
So letting yourself be challenged with something you don't know or something you think you know that maybe your mind's going to change on, or being challenged with, I might be embarrassed to try this thing, or, go sit in a class with people who are a lot younger than me or a lot older than me and learn something without feeling less than I am. I mean, learning is just what we should be doing.
Yeah, and it's awkward. I mean, nobody looks great learning how to ride a bicycle. Nobody looks great learning how to swim. That's just a part of learning. But also another bad look is never learning anything and being set in your ways and living in deceit and lies and falsehood because you're too proud to grow.
I think you can borrow a little self-confidence from kids who have an infinite amount of self-confidence. I mean, what kid sits there and goes, Dad, I can't learn to ride a bike because I'm going to look stupid?
That's a great point. Children are more creative and they learn more. People say they're sponges. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of that is they don't get in their own way.
But that starts to change around the teenage years.
Yeah.
Which is the reason I struggle today to drive a standard transmission, because I can remember Dad having me drive his whatever year model Nova it was up and down the road at Georgia Baptist Children's Home, shifting gears, and me getting so angry because I couldn't do it well that I just finally quit. If I'm not mistaken, I got mad and sat in the back seat and just refused to do it. And today I can drive a standard transmission, but it is ugly. It's kind of like a person that didn't learn how to swim falling in the pool. There's a lot of thrashing about. And at that moment, it was because I was embarrassed that I was failing. I couldn't do it, and I was frustrated, and it embarrassed me. So I just quit at it. For some reason around that adolescent age is when that self-awareness starts to happen, and we start to really overly concern ourselves with what everybody else thinks, and we start losing some of I think that's why we learn so quickly when we're kids, and why it slows down as we get older, is we have more of that self-awareness that hinders our ability to grow, because we don't want to look stupid. We don't want to be embarrassed. We don't want to feel like we're failing.
Can it be a standard transmission these days when it's not the standard?
When automatic is standard?
Yeah.
That is a great question. Manual transmission?
Manual
transmission.
Stick shift.
Three on the tree.
Yeah.
3 on the tree.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard it called that.
Well, that's because Tim had to crank the car in the front. He had that big handle.
There used to be one that was on the column.
Okay.
Right.
His car would go down there and go.
And then every now and then, if it didn't go well, I had to put my feet through the floorboard and do like Fred Flintstone. Just another thought about this quote. For me, you ever met people that it feels like they have more opinions than there are things to have an opinion about?
Yeah.
Somebody write that down.
That's
good. They just.
I thought you were looking at me for a second. I'm glad you said something.
But just an unwavering opinion about everything, right? Where this is the way that is, and this is the way that is. And it's like, to communicate with someone like that, it's just hard, right? I mean, and the reason it's hard, and where I think it ties back to this quote, is those folks are done learning.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to know. This is it. It's a wrap. Right. And so, I think, and this goes to Drew, the point that you were making about Bible study there, right? And having an open mind. And a lot of times we say that, and all we have in mind is We really would like everybody else that doesn't have it right to come to a knowledge of the truth.
Right. We're always talking about the other person.
Right.
Yeah.
But to really have the humility, you need to always have that if you're going to keep learning. You've got to, even if you feel, there's nothing wrong with feeling confident in your opinion about something or feeling strong about your opinion, but there always needs to be that part that says, but maybe I'm not 100% right, or maybe there's something else I could learn and add to this, or maybe I'm just flat wrong. And I need to at least listen and interact with others and keep learning about things and give more education a chance to happen. But, maybe some of this is just that whole idea about self-confidence and about the temper and all that. But it's hard to deal with people who just think, well, I've got my ideas set about everything.
Yeah. It goes back to what you said earlier when we were talking about new heavens and new earth. That is not a matter of fellowship. You said that. I don't think this discussion is a matter of fellowship. Where that discussion becomes a matter of fellowship is if two parties get so set that they can't have conversation about it and they're butting heads about it, and it starts to create division. The topic doesn't create the disfellowship, but the stubbornness and the attitudes, the lack of humility, the lack of willingness to be open to learning and hearing someone else's opinion creates division, which is in a way disfellowship. I mean, it just ties right back into that, what you said earlier about that.
I think even if you've got confidence that you're right about something, having the humility to know there might be more depth to the story there that I might have had to begin with. And that idea of being humble enough to not lose my self-confidence if I find out there is some more depth at the very least, but maximum, if I was dead wrong, still having the humility to listen. And I keep thinking of, I don't know if I can respond to a passage with another one, but Proverbs 9:7, whoever corrects a scoffer will himself get abuse, and he who reproves a wicked man incurs injury. Do not reprove a scoffer or he will hate you, but reprove a wise man and he will love you. Give instruction to a wise man and he will still be wiser. Teach a righteous man and he will increase in learning. So it's wise and righteous to listen to reproof or to listen to further instruction. And all through the Proverbs, the foolish guy is just constantly he won't listen. He's insolent. He won't listen to his teachers. He won't listen to anybody who's trying to reprove him. And I think of, college students, when they get to college, they usually feel like they have a lot more things figured out than by the time they leave.
That means they've got a good education if they leave thinking they know less than they came in.
Hopefully by the time you leave, and I think the best product of education is to realize when you're done, there's a lot of stuff out there I don't know. I know a little bit now that I'm done with school, but there's way more I don't know than I have been introduced to.
To quote one of my favorite professors at UAB, Dr. Robert Rutstein, I've got to hold my hands like he did when he would talk. The more I know, the less I know.
Yeah,
I'm sure he stole that from somebody else, but that he would say that
so true.
Almost every lecture.
So true. All right.
That was a good one. I like that one.
Yeah.
A little different, right?
Can't go wrong with Robert Frost.
Two roads. They
chose the one less traveled.
They
made all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're the guy who doesn't know poetry. Once again,
knows poetry.
Quoting the poetry.
I don't know anything about poetry, except for he's not country like that.
Listen, folks, have you been to the YouTube? We are on the YouTube now, and we'd like you to go check us out on there and smash the subscribe button for us.
It.
You could even just click the subscribe. You don't even have to smash it. Just click it.
A like click will do.
A like click will do. Any click will do. There's some of you who haven't done it yet. We know who you are.
Good point. Good point, Andrew. Yep. A tap if you're not on a computer.
That's right.
We really need to up our vocabulary
and
here.
Near that button is this thing called share. Hit that one too.
Share it.
Yeah, on YouTube,
Ring
there's
the
also
bell?
the thumbs up and the bell, so you can get reminders or notifications for when new episodes drop.
My only YouTube notification right now.
Yeah,
When Passages drops.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the only YouTube I get.
All right.
Yep.
See,
Be like
this is
Andrew.
your example,
Yeah,
folks.
Be like Andrew.
Right. And Andrew, it was great having you in the studio tonight. We look forward to you filing some more field reports as our remote correspondent. But anytime you're in town on a Wednesday night, we'd love for you to come by. We might even get an extra microphone one day.
Man.
One day when Jason wins the $1 billion bracket challenge
challenge.
and buys us another one.
Well, you'll just be able to use my microphone at that point because I'll be in.
He won't be here.
This might be the only bracket with Georgia getting out of the first round, so I might be close to the perfect bracket.
I'm pretty sure that the Final Four is a bit of a stretch, even for the dogs.
That was purely just to mess with him. They're losing in the first round.
Well, so Tim, you're not going to be here next week, but we're going to pick up with March Madness.
Yeah,
when you come back
we
and
need to
see.
do it. Right, so by then we'll be to the Sweet 16, and we can, or maybe even the Elite 8. So we'll
See how much it's falling apart.
We'll
by
see
that
who's
point.
in the lead. We'll come up with a scoring mechanism there and give you a leaderboard.
Sounds good. Well, there's that and a whole lot of other things to come next time on Passages.